The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
Okay, welcome to another exciting episode of the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge. And we like to start off, like we usually start off, with the guests and let people know how your week was. You know what I'm saying? Our first guest is Billions, right?
That's right. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. When you was a child growing up, they used to call you Millions or Thousands?
Actually called me Beanie when I was growing up.
Beanie?
Yeah.
You have come a long way, my brother.
Long
How was
way.
your week, Billions?
Busy.
Busy?
Long week. Yep.
Now, what organization do you represent?
Africa Town Coalition.
Okay, that's cool. And now we're glad to have you. And how was your week, Mr. Kevin?
Well, my week was actually quite well. My name is Kevin Warden Price, Africa Town Coalition. Mm-hmm. And, we've been working real hard on fighting gentrification in the community. There's a lot of development that's going on that is displacing, elderly and other individuals in the community.
So your whole week was pretty much doing some work for your organization?
Yeah, for the community. Yeah.
Go hard or go home, right?
Go hard or go home.
Go hard or go harder.
Well, welcome to the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge.
All right.
And Mr. Farouk, also known as the Ghetto Googler, how was your week?
It was pretty fair, man, I just been eating and staying away from sucking and stupid shit, man. That's how I've been spending my week.
So would you say you was a sucker, ducking, and dummy dodging?
Dummy dodging.
Oh, that's cool. And you guys, nobody wants to ask me how my week was, so I'll just
How
tell
was your week, man?
Hey, I thought you'd never ask. My week was pretty extraordinary because I had to deal with the aftermath of what had happened to me and my daughter Friday the 13th, to be exact. I didn't even realize what day it was. It happened Friday the 13th, 8:30 at night, when the police, what they did was profiled us and scared the shit out of my daughter. And the repercussions of that, even though it's 2 weeks later, I can see them because she's starting to have panic attacks every time she see police, the black and white cars. She got to grab her breath, take slow, deep breaths. She gets to shaking, like that. So I didn't think it would be that lingering of a traumatic event on her, but I'm seeing the effects of it, and it's real. So the steps I had taken was I went, I tried to contact the internal affairs. I tried to call down the police station. I don't know any black people ever tried to do that. That's a hell of a task. They say call us. You know what I'm saying?
We just go down there.
Yeah, I know that now. I'm going down there tomorrow morning. You know what I'm saying? But I got to make sure I ain't got no warrants and shit.
Exactly.
Because you don't want to go down there. Before you fill out the complaint, let me see your information. You know what I'm saying? They like, wait a minute. They say you can complain after you see the judge. I ain't trying to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But anyway, have you guys had any run-ins or any experiences with profiling or harassment by the police since you guys are active in the community? It's the Leimert Park area, right?
Yes. We call it Africa Town. But
Africa Town. That's good. That's cool. What kind of rapport do you guys find that you have with the police that patrol that area?
I mean, that's part of what we deal with daily. We have what we call community patrol, where we go out and actively either follow the helicopter when we see in there. If we see the police chasing something, we try to follow them and see what's happening. But daily we see this happens to young, old, brothers, sisters, whatever. And in the immediate area, we have noticed they scaled back a little bit, I think, because we keep that watch on them. Right. But once we get out South Central, Inglewood, those areas, is still ridiculous.
So you would say that since you guys have made a major presence in the area, like we were talking about this in a couple of shows before, how the community has to learn how to start policing their own community. Right. And, it's several different ways you can do that. By making you guys' presence known, they can't just willy-nilly do what they want to do, because they say, there's a watchful eye, that adds to the problem and the solution and gives checks and balances to the negativity that the police element can bring to a community that's not aware. Would you agree to that?
Right.
And, one of the checks and balances I would have to say is that's being present, because a lot of times, like in your situation, you were alone at that time, you and your family, and pretty much there was nowhere else around, right?
Right.
So, when you have a situation like that, their intention is to terrorize you, and hopefully, that fear that has already been instilled will allow them to do what they want to do. Right. So I would say that your daughter is suffering, I'm not going to say to what level, but, PTSD, because this is one of the things that law enforcement does. is that it instills fear in young people. You know, I had a gun put in my face when I was 10 years old. What's the point in that?
Now, how did that affect you? How long did you realize and feel the effects of that traumatizing event?
Well, I've carried it all my life. I mean, I've hated law enforcement, and that has been, you know, one of the key catalysts right there. Is when I was in behind my garage in the alley, we had a little safari going on. The police seen our little BB gun. He wants to do his thing. He pulled his gun out, stuck it in my face. I'm like, this is a real gun.
Yeah, ain't no BBs in it.
You know, right?
Yeah, and that's the sad thing that people would eminently say that they hate law enforcement, and I don't think law enforcement is a problem. I think that cops that don't give a fuck misrepresenting law enforcement is the problem, you know, because they think because they got a badge and a gun and they're quote unquote seen as the good guys that they can do whatever the fuck they want to do, and people who are, you know, pretty much misinformed about how the law goes, or people that are really like, you know, pretty much the lowly people that don't really know, and the innocent people get taken advantage of by these assholes. So I commend you with your plight to rid these people out of our community. Now, if you a great cop, especially if you're a cop from the community, we welcome you to do your job in the community. But people that don't live in the community, especially the demographics of us, you know, you got some hick redneck coming from the Appalachian to get a job in South Central. No, we don't need you here because you don't even understand the demographics of the people when you are detached away from them.
Right. Now, this is an interesting thing that you guys are talking about. Is you know, not so much as the people in our community are like lowly or ignorant. It's just that they lack the proper resources of how, and the protocol
That's
of how
what they take advantage of man.
how to go about defending themselves and empowering themselves. You know, so instead of you having a powerful community when it comes to these type of cops that take advantage of their power and all that, you are creating a powerful community.
They like gang members. They just hide behind badges, and just like most gang members in the gang culture, they sniff out weaknesses, and that's what they prey upon. Okay, so I'm not saying people in our community are lowly. What I'm saying is they scale out and, like you say, profile. They know who they want to harass, okay? Now, when they notice, like, okay, this person right here living in this big-ass house, and they run your license plate and you a judge, doctor, a lawyer, they not fucking with you, because the chances are you got a friend and somewhere in a high place is somebody that can get their ass exposed and fired, okay? But if you're a homeless person, or if you're a person trying to, you know, gather your bearings to get it back right together, or you might have a dependency problem, these are the people who they attack. You know what I'm saying?
So basically what you're saying is sometimes, you know, when they profile and they know who to fuck with and who not to fuck with.
Well, at least that's their assumption.
Yeah, from their perception.
Yeah, that's their assumption.
Because now that you're saying that, it makes sense. Because, you know, only thing, because I'm sitting there like, were we looking like a threat? And I noticed we had food for less bags. So in their mind, their perception might have thought we was fools for less. You dig what I'm saying? so sometimes, you know, but that still doesn't negate the fact that, you know, if we know what we can do in our
or he could have profiled you as some type of R. Kelly cat.
But
because in their mind, they not used to hearing
I could have had a bag for the honey buns.
No, but on the real though, this is what I'm saying. They not used to us being seen as fathers. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, what is this motherfucker doing walking with this young girl? They don't look like, hey, maybe it's his father, because, you know, the way that they are reared of thinking is that we're a bunch of fucking savages. We do, you know, the black man abandoned his family, which you could do the facts. Black men take care of their kids more than any other man of any other race.
So you said we probably stuck out like a sore thumb in their mind, based on what they're used to or used to hearing and the stigma that's attached to a black family in general.
But but let's not let them get off too easy, because
you can't. You have to hold them accountable.
In the 70s, what I'm talking about in the 70s, you know, is like, today is a little bit different, because in the 70s, it was about white cops instilling fear in black youth. That's all that was. There was no instruction of law when he pulled his gun out and stuck it in my face. There was nothing. It was just instilling fear. So when I see his image, I would fear his image.
And
now
you connect
today,
that with something
it's
to
the
be feared.
same thing. Is they are merely oppressing and making sure that black people, no matter where they find you, especially at night,
quote unquote, stay in their place.
Exactly. When
Yep.
they got out of that car and he put his hand on his gun like this here, he knew what that was going to cause, the emotional unrest. He knew what that was going to cause in the nighttime. Was he white?
Of course.
Mexican?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's just a part of their process. It's part of that socializing that they're trying to continue.
Now, Kevin, now, you know, my thing, you've been knowing me for a while. One thing that's like a pet peeve of mine is, you know, when people just sit around and be like, just complain, well, yeah, and this happened to me. We want to take it to a step further and be proactive with the conversation. And so, like, if it's anyone out there that has experience profiling or any type of alarming event with the police or law enforcement, what steps can they take to be more powerful or empower themselves instead of just feeling like scared victims?
Well, you know, one of the things that they should do is immediately align yourself with a community activist organization,
such as
Africatown Coalition.
Oh, okay.
To, you know, identify who the officer is, and don't just get their badge number, get their serial number, because the badge number and the serial is two different things. So you want to get their serial number, that
and
way
the patrol call number.
Yeah, all the way through the system. And two, you know, don't be afraid. If you can, go down to the police station and take some people with you.
Now, a lot of people say, you know, when it comes down to that part about going down to the police station, I don't know if this is a fact or just a rumor, because that's where they'll stop. They go, I got to go down there?
Yeah.
You know, well, shit, I got some warrants. You know, is they going to keep me? So they just won't even go. So
that's how they keep getting away with it, because they instill fear into you, so you don't want to deal with them.
So just based upon you guys' knowledge and everything, walk us through a situation where, like, if you just go down there, you're trying to file a complaint, what should somebody expect that's afraid to go down there because they got some warrants or they got some on their record?
It's a few things that can happen. One, they'll give you the runaround, misdirect you.
That's the first thing they're going to try.
To speak to is not there.
It's the sergeant. You got to talk to a sergeant, correct?
Well, usually the watch commander. That's the
first
person you normally want to really communicate with. But even beyond the police station, every Tuesday they have what's called the police commission meetings. That takes place downtown. The chief of police and the so-called civilian oversight committee is there, and you give them the brunt of what's happening. But also in those meetings is normally a number of groups who deal with this situation, so you'll be able to build a relation
and won't
with groups that are
so there's power in numbers. You know, as an individual, they could just brush you off and send you, like you said, the runaround. And the thing is, don't just make it a white and black issue because the cop cars is white and black, because you have many white supremacists in black skin. You know, you got a lot of so-called brothers of people of color that work for the law enforcement agency to go a step further than these white people that put you in a perplexed, messed up situation. Now, I don't know if they get extra donuts and shit when they get off
well, you know what I heard?
Or whatever they do, but, you know, you have to watch your personnel. Don't think just because, okay, this is a brother or sister in a uniform that they have your best interest at heart.
To add to that, you know, they don't get extra donuts like when they get off. They do it quarterly. But, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Quarterly, you get a whole big dozen, you know what I'm saying? You don't get 13 in
from
the baby.
Krispy Kreme, huh?
Yeah. So if anybody has anything to say, they want to chime in, give us a call at the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge at 323-293-3375. We'll be right back after this short break.
Fierce on purpose.
Well, we're out here exposing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and mostly the fugly. Come on, scary ass.
Here we go.
Yeah, man, great. Oh, man, we in LA. Y'all see me going down. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Yes, can you get him?
The cameraman's fire, you know that, right?
No, he's really good at
I can tell this. The footage is horrible by the look of his eyes.
You should stop. These cool bottles, but you're not over here, Eleanor, are you?
You know, hit clean. Here's a 1, 2, 3. 4, 3.
This my Macy's. I be trying to tell people. This is my Nordstrom. This your Nordstrom's? Hey. Yes. Hey, mesmerize. I'm not ready to mesmerize. Look.
Don't look. Don't look.
Oh, you already? I'm stuck.
Don't be stuck.
Oh.
All right. Leave it at that.
All right, we're back. Now we were talking about some of the steps we could take to empower ourselves, but then every thing has two sides to it. You got pros and you got cons. Now there's also things I've been hearing when you try to make these steps. You contacting internal affairs. You're going down to the police station. You're attending these meetings. I've heard that you're putting yourself like basically putting a target on your back, and there's some things that come along with that. Like you'll find yourself being harassed or approached by the police because you're doing something positive. Have you guys ran into any kind of situation like that, or can you speak on one?
Well, yes, I can speak on one. Matter of fact, we have one of our brothers named King Solomon. One of our sisters was assaulted on Compton, and I believe it was a laundry at a beauty parlor.
Right.
So he responded with some other brothers.
He didn't snatch her weave out and shit, did he?
Well, no. Actually, it was a little fight jump off. So she handled herself pretty good.
She
but
had
the
hands?
fact,
She had hands?
Oh, she had hands. Yeah, he had to pick up something and throw it at her.
Oh, Lord.
But and they have they're
Bitch-ass
cowards,
nigga.
right?
He was a
Because they
rookie.
have this thing about attacking women. They're always assaulting women. They never assault no men. They always assaulting
Because
women.
they
But
see
anyway,
her as
let me
a
clear
weaker
it up.
vessel.
okay,
You're speaking of the Korean assault. A Korean merchant assaulted one of our sisters.
a Korean merchant assaulted a sister that came into his store and had an issue with her. So basically, the brother came in and, one thing led to another. Some people got slapped up. He came out. The police showed up. They jumped him, tasered him for about 10 minutes, right? So we was going to court for him and everything, and so they consider us to be, I guess, troublemakers, whatever. But anyway, so we're in court. They try to regulate everything, because we would stand up when he come out and we stand up when he left. And they didn't like that. They tried to regulate, but they couldn't. So finally she said, anybody cause any problems, you out of here.
Right.
So one of, the people that I was with, he said something, and so she kicked him out. Now, being that I rode with him.
She meaning the judge?
The judge. So being that I rode with him to court, I stepped out for a minute. Now, you got like 10 police, right? They all we call these like gangbangers. These are gangbanging sheriffs. These are competent gangbanging sheriffs, and they do it well. And so when he went out, the dude, when I was getting ready to come back, Sheriff Hernandez, gangbanging Sheriff Hernandez, told me I just need to get the fuck out of here because I'm not coming back in. I said, who the hell you think you are? You're not the judge. You can't bar me from the courtroom.
Right.
So when I attempted to walk back in, he was standing at the door. He blocked the door and he just shoved me real hard, violently, just shoved me back. And so my hand came out and there was a little bit of contact, and so they wrestled me down, blah, blah, blah. And so we have a court case going right now. So this is what they do.
So did your hands accidentally two-piece him?
For the record, accidentally two-pieced me.
Yeah. It's just reflex.
Yeah, just reflex. Yeah. So, and so I'm going through a trial right now as a result of that. So they tried to suppress us in various different ways. Suppress us. This is the second case that we've had.
So you're saying also when a person takes that proactive approach, be ready or expect some kind of backlash.
Without a doubt.
Right.
They coming, without a doubt. I mean, and that's the karma. Actually in comedic science we call it mesh connect. But that is what is coming. When you challenge the system, you know what I'm saying, what you put out, but what we're putting out is positive, but it's still going to come back because that negativism is going to come back trying to push us down as far as it possibly can so that others can't see what we're doing and say, hey, you know what, maybe I can build me some karma up and, get some things going,
Now, that's interesting you mentioned karma. What do you call it?
Mesh connect.
Mesh connect?
Yeah.
Okay, now that's the first time.
Comedic term.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of that term. But a lot of people seem to. I've ran into people that don't believe in karma. You know what I'm saying? And then they get to trying to test it. Oh, you doing? You adding to that mesh connect. You know what I'm saying?
You don't have to believe in karma if you are karma.
Right, it's gonna happen anyway.
If you do something fucked up, the results of your action are gonna be fucked up.
Whether you believe it.
Yeah, that's just universal law.
Right, whether you believe it or not.
You're absolutely right.
But what I was getting to is something I found interesting over time is if you pay attention, karma also has warnings for your ass.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'll start seeing things a different way before it hits you with the boo-bop. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, I remember when I was a young man, you know, people like, oh man, don't do that, it's gonna come back on you. So I was like, well, shit, I'll be ready for it, you know what I'm saying? That's what I was thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It'd be cool if Karma was like, hey, I'm leaving you a message, this is Karma, and I'll be back to get your ass July 10th about 9:30.
Karma got a twin brother.
Yeah, but hold up. But it never comes back when you're ready for it.
Exactly.
It comes back unexpected. So then you know exactly why it came at this time and exactly what it was for. You dig what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you said Karma got a twin brother?
Yeah.
What's
and
his
his name is Payback.
Payback? No, that might be a sister because they say
No, I like
Payback.
that.
Payback is a bitch too.
That's right.
They might be twin sisters. They say
That's
Karma's
right.
a bitch and Payback's a bitch. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you know, one of the things that when we look at the career of law enforcement, they have a very high suicide rate, and lately they have a
Domestic
high
violence.
rate of
Domestic violence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this has
domestic-
always
that's what I
been
wanted to
their
say.
history, and alcohol and drug abuse.
and they're killing each other at a higher rate today.
And they've been getting busted a lot lately for pedophilia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What,
because they're
law
being
enforcement?
outed.
Yeah.
They're being outed now. You know, it's like it's just too much going on. They can't keep it, you know, packed down no more. So
Oh yeah,
they're
I
being outed.
did hear recently about one of those officers taking advantage of a cadet. Is that the one you're speaking of?
I've
That's
seen a
only
few
one
of them over the
case.
past year. A few
Yeah,
different
that's
cases.
one case.
Yeah. So you know, like I read before, you know, in places it says, you know, power corrupts absolutely.
Right.
You know, when people take advantage of their what they think is power, then things go awry. You know what I'm saying? I've even noticed it in relationships. You know, people, and I've noticed this, I hate to say it, with our sisters, you know, they misconstrue the definition and the meaning of respect with control. You know, if the brother is, you know, making sure he don't slap the shit out of her, or, you know, being what you call it, generous, or what you call it, meeting their request or whatever with no
Right.
problem, and have a nice manner about that shit.
Being a man.
The sisters sometimes misinterpret that as him being weak,
Man.
or well, I told him to do this and he
God.
did it.
Yeah.
You know, so they start
Man.
doing this control. They take on a controlling posture. You
Right.
dig what I'm saying? And there's really a false sense of control that ends up because it's not reciprocated. And so after a period of time, you know, some brothers will say, well, you know, I ain't gonna keep doing this shit, and you ain't gonna reciprocate this shit, and I'm out. Now they part of what they call they have a group too. It's kind of a clandestine group like the Illuminati.
Yeah.
They call it the BBC. It's called the Bitter Bitch Society, the community. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
So it'd be a bunch of bitter bitches. They usually meet down at the drink. They call it Girls' Night Out, and it'd be a
Say
bunch of
girls'
bitter
night
bitches
out.
around there. You know, and usually they range in the age group of after 35, and their body shapes is out the game. You know what I'm saying?
And they wonder why we like the young
Oh
women.
yeah, them the ones that take the selfies, but it's only the headshots.
Headshot up. Well, sometimes chest though.
That's just the physical.
Sometimes chest, because at that bottom half they be out the game, but they
That's
still.
that's the physical principle, man. And I'm not finna attribute, you know, sisters feeling that way all to them, because
I'm talking about the one that's in that bitter bitch.
yeah, I understand that, but you have to realize what we do as men to add to that, okay? And like I say, man, just when people dissect things and everybody just hold themselves accountable for their own fucked up actions, then we can come to terms with that to figure out solutions. But you blaming them, they blaming us, that's what kids do. You know what I'm saying?
That's the blame
A
game.
real man.
That's never
a
effective.
real man holds himself accountable for everything in his household. So every action and whoever could cause these actions, he holds himself accountable. And what I mean by that is, let's get to the fact on why these women are bitter, okay? Because they deal with nothing, suck ass niggas that
Right.
lie to them and stick their chests out and say they a man but can't pay the goddamn bills,
Right.
and you know, they on some bullshit, okay? Now, here's the real cause why women do shit. We're men, okay? So by nature, we're sexually driven. We like to have sex, and most of us that are healthy have a high sex drive because we desire to reproduce ourselves. That's the nature of God, okay? But when they see you're weak for their womb, that's when the control shit start, and that's when the respect level drop. Okay, even though what you got between your legs I love, I'm not finna put your pussy above my priorities and my principles. And a lot of us do that and put ourselves in the sucker suit, so they figure if you dance once, you go dance twice. And then that's your fault. That's your fault because you saying you having a problem with this sister and she ain't shit, but this other man got her doing every goddamn thing he wants her to do. Right. Okay, why? Because you have to understand the nature of a woman. Most of us just see women as pussy and forget that they have a brain attached to that. Okay, and they have a free will, okay? A lot of people assume that a woman need a reason to cheat.
No, they don't need no
women
reason
cheat
at all.
for the same reason men cheat, because they fucking want to.
Right.
You know,
what people say, like, what people understand is things about convenience or whatever, and like they say, hold yourself accountable for your own actions. When you play the blame game anywhere in any relationship or any situation, it's over. Even as far as like when we're dealing with the police officers and certain type of harassments, you know, the communities and things like that. At certain times, people gotta look at what are they doing to be taken advantage of in this community. Like, remember what I was saying about people going to the police station, but they're afraid to go. Like, you know, they shit ain't really right. You know what I'm saying? Or you say, okay, this cop is bad, or they always harass us. But then this person riding around, they don't have their shit together. They don't have their driver's license. They don't have no insurance. You know, no registration. Right. You know what I'm saying?
So you upping yourself up to a whole kind of shit, you know? Yeah. And to add to what you say, see, is we as brothers in the community hold ourselves accountable for the shit that go on in the community. We alone can rid that. Now, what I mean by that is, like, taking something of nature, this is a similarity. When a shark is out trying to eat fish, right, the fish that swim in the school to where they move in unison confuses a shark. He don't get one of them. But the fish that's on their independent own thing, one over here, one over there, the shark can come and pick off this one and pick off that one. So what I'm saying is, in unity there's power, and it doesn't matter our individual difference. We have to confront a common foe and the evil that we know. Okay, these are evil-ass people.
In that community.
Yeah,
What I've noticed, Farouk, is like some people, like say you got the African Coalition, but you still in a community that's contrived of different religions, different beliefs, different culture.
Yeah, but you got to put all that shit aside.
Yeah, what I'm saying is then I've noticed that like certain people won't join or participate in because they got a different perspective, but then we still have the same common enemy and same common
so how could you have a different perspective when straight bullets don't discriminate? Right. They don't give a fuck if you Jew, Muslim, or Christian. Okay?
Because for a lot of people, it comes down to self-preservation.
Thank
you. They just don't give a fuck. You know,
Thank you. So when you don't give a fuck, then you lead yourself subjected, okay? Because if you don't give a fuck about me, if I see the police harassing you and none of that, I'm going to turn my goddamn back and mind my damn business. Right. Now, that doesn't help the problem. It intensifies the problem. Right. So at one point, even if you don't give a fuck about me personally, you got to say, well, that's a black man. Whatever he's going through today, I could be going through tomorrow. Right. You know? Right. So when we have a real community attitude, and regardless of our difference, we extend the common courtesy and love and mutual respect for one another, it'll be kind of hard for these motherfuckers to come in here and do what they do. Now here's another thing. One more thing, brother, and I'm going to let you have the floor. A lot of us say we hate the police, but we call the police on each other more than anybody.
We don't.
That's true.
As brothers. I'm talking about people in the community. That's why they hear somebody's calling them. Right. And most of the time, it's the person starting this shit, and they calling on the one to retaliate.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
as an occupying force, you know, I mean, independent of our actions, this is why law enforcement is in the community, because they started out as a patty rollers way back in slavery. Right. It's just, you know, been flipped to the forward. But
slave catchers. Slave catchers.
Yeah, exactly. And so I just wanted to say that, you know, in our community, we have a lot of things to deal with. We have a lot of PTSD that's in the community. We have gangs, drugs, homelessness. We have mental problems.
Fatherless home.
A lot of stuff that's out of control. Yeah. We were down here on Western and Vernon. We ran into a situation to where some of the local...
Where the Master Burger is?
Yeah. And so we was
what was you doing down there? Was you getting a cheeseburger?
Nicknamed Murder Burger.
Keep it real, Big.
We was feeding people.
You was there for the chicken?
We weren't there for the chicken. We were trying to shut the chicken down.
Oh, okay.
Shut the chicken spot. Because it's filthy over there,
Yeah,
right?
it
And there
is.
was
Oh, you
problems.
talking about that Louisiana?
Louisiana, right? So we were there. We were feeding the people because we had gone down. We feed the people on that corner right there,
Right.
where the Louisiana chicken is. So we was pushing up on the Koreans. The Koreans went and got the brothers that hang out there. You know, the brothers that hang out there. And I guess they, talked to her, whatever. Next thing you know, they come hitting us up like,
Offering
hey,
them
man,
9 pieces of chicken.
Y'all got to move on.
Dude,
And
come
then the brother
step to
took-
That's what they paid the brothers to
Paid
move.
them 9 pieces of chicken to
You
come
know,
step
bucket
to.
of chicken.
Brothers will do some crazy things for some chicken, especially
And then
if
they
it's a
got
riverboat.
their ass whooped for free and got that chicken took.
Hey, but watch this though. Now here's what karma. We was talking about karma, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So we out here doing our thing. We ain't never assaulted no black folks, nothing like that. So we don't have that type of negative stuff, right? So after this thing got started, one thing led to another. Some negatives, the cat with what I don't even want to say it really, but they was gonna do some shooting. I'll just say that.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the police just happened to bust the corner from coming down from Vernon right on that western, bust that corner right there. They seen it and veered off. So there's a lot of negative shit. There's a lot of people out there in the community, man, that really, really need to be like somehow gotten out of the way. I hate to really say that, but
You're right.
but
I
it's-
agree with
when
you
have a
100%.
peaceful, we had children out there. We have men, we have women and children out there
Yeah.
all the time. Anytime we go to a major event like that, right, helping out the community. So if you're gonna come, with the burners and stuff and want to do something to us out there helping the people,
Right.
that says one, it has really nothing to do with us. It has to do with your PTSD.
Right.
Now we found out some of the dynamics that was happening in the background. Some people got killed, blah blah. And so they like.
Oh, it's some
care
damn
about
chicken.
life.
Chicken, man. Some
Man, so you
fried,
trying to do
nasty
something
ass
good.
chicken.
So it's hard
and
out
it's
there.
some negatives, but
It ain't no joke.
But when you do the right things happen. But at the same time, you have to be aware of the negativity that could possibly happen, and don't
yeah.
let that deter you
Right.
from moving forward for the proactive movement.
Right.
Yep.
Now, I have to admit, I did scratch that corner off my list. Okay, because I feel that
But if there's anybody out there
nigga for
that
coming
wanna
down
get-
here try to help you
If
out,
there's anybody out there that want to,
Then they don't need
be
your
hard
help.
enough.
Exactly.
What we heard
They don't
not too
need your
long
help,
ago,
you
somebody
know?
got smoked over there. So again, that's that karma.
on that
came in.
corner, and it was for the longest. It was really sad, And usually we go down there and investigate and do things and
Right.
make a presence, but that could have been us
Yeah, but
that night.
I've been knowing you brothers. I've been seeing the work firsthand of what you do, in the community. Like the liquor store that you was protesting in front of, now it's nothing but brothers working in there. You know what I'm saying? So,
sister.
and I commend you with that. But see, here you have it, brother. That your life is precious, and there's people out here who need your presence, and when people show you that they don't give a fuck about you trying to help them, you got to leave them alone, man, because, see, what we fail to realize is that many of amongst us still has the same identical mentality. It's fresh coming off a slave plantation.
Exactly.
And you got to realize, like Nat Turner, this is one of my heroes, Harriet Tubman, they had to literally kill some of our own people in order for the price of freedom for the many that they saved and got freedom, like Harriet Tubman, nigga. Oh, well, where we go eat at? Oh, it's cold out here. Oh, shit. Just let me go back to the plantation. So Harriet Tubman say, well, we're going this way to freedom. If you want to go back, go back. But you know what she did when they turned their head and walked back? Put a bullet right in the back of their goddamn head. Now, I'm not advocating no violence for the people out here in public, but what I'm saying is some of these people, man, you trying to say, man, it's not that you give up on them, but how could you really help someone who gave up on themselves? It's impossible. Same thing. Nat Turner, he liberated a lot of black people from oppression, but one of the oppressed niggas that he liberated snitched on him and got him hung. Yeah. And then after they hung Nat Turner, they hung his ass too.
Yeah.
Now, I heard of that story, and it's interesting because I found out that the person that did snitch was related to Tekashi 6ix9ine. It was really interesting. So,
that just don't make no sense right there.
Because karma's coming, and it stretches and it reaches and it transcends generations. You dig what I'm saying?
So you don't need a whole bunch of good cops if you got a motherfucker like him.
Yeah, you don't really.
He turned on R. Kelly.
Hell yeah.
He turned on Antonio Brown.
And I got a confidential informant that's in prison in custody with Tekashi. He said he gonna tell on all of us Monday. So I don't know what you fellas done, but you know, protect your neck.
Well.
You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. But you know, and one thing about when Farouk was saying about helping people and people that don't want to help themselves, there's all kind of demographics and parameters that prevent that help because. You know, mental illness in our community is a serious issue that I really
rampant, man.
I really think need to be addressed because some people, brothers and sisters, are very, very reluctant to go get their mental health.
We try to normalize it, man. We try to normalize all it or suppress it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you go to some friend's house, you got an uncle, this motherfucker doing backflips, asshole naked in the den, and you know,
finger like that's just Uncle Johnny.
Yeah, finger paint with his own shit on the walls, and you know, you like, hey man, what the fuck is this dude doing?
That's just Uncle Johnny.
Don't worry about him, man. He's harmless. He ain't gonna bother you, but you looking at this shit.
You done painted a Picasso with doodle.
Yeah, like, man, what the fuck's going on? But see, they'd rather keep him at home and get the motherfucking Social Security money and pimp him to do what they got to do instead of really spending this money seeking real help. You got a lot of sisters out here, normal kids, you just need to whoop their ass and cut the sugar from their diet. They put them on all these kind of, especially young black men, they put them on all these kind of fucking drugs and shit that'll make them sterile and also make them prone to become drug addicts and violent when they get older. Okay? But they do that because a motherfucker be like a fucking zombie standing up against the wall for hours while she doing some whole shit, you know, not attending to her real motherly duties just for the sake of SSI money. Okay, so to me, people like that are the fucking problem. Same thing. You got women in the community, they know their son is a gangbanger. You know, it's the hood house. All the niggas from the hood come over there. You know, she's foul and wild. She sucking and fucking most of her son's friends. But as soon as her son get killed behind trying to rob somebody that wasn't playing that bullshit. Oh, he was a good kid. You know, he had passing grades in school. Yeah, but bitch, they was D's. You know what I'm saying? See, we have to stop condoning bullshit in our community.
And the blame,
because see,
blame, like you said.
Thank you. Once we do this, then it'll be less police coming over there. When they see young brothers organize and they see that they're safe helping old ladies across the street and shit, they're going to be scared to get out the goddamn car and harass one of us.
But another thing that you had said earlier, and we was talking about a lot of times these police come into these areas because somebody in that community has been making phone calls. You dig what I'm saying? Like, so we have to understand that too. If we talking about like we're talking about how we can police our own communities, then that'll eliminate some of those calls because that'll also eliminate some of those problems.
And if you're a criminal, take your ass to the white folks where the cops live at. Community and do that shit. Man, quit going around the goddamn corner breaking in somebody else's house for a fucking PlayStation and a flat screen TV. Quit doing that shit.
A lot of criminals.
If your ass is broke, keep in mind that if you going around the corner and do that shit, they in the same fucking financial category and bracket. That's why they live in the same community.
Look, for real, you know, a lot of criminals today be lazy than a motherfucker. They like, I ain't going way down there when I can rob this motherfucker across the street, and I'll be back in bed. And get
that's not a criminal. That's called a convict because you will get convicted. Criminals don't get caught, Marv.
Is that right?
No, criminals do not get caught.
Because otherwise they would be convicts.
Thank you.
That's what's up. We'll be right back on the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge after this small break.
Fierce on purpose.
Exposing the good, the bad, and the ugly, and mostly the fugly.
Come on, scary ass.
Here we go.
Yeah, man, great. Oh, baby, we in LA. Y'all see me going down. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. Jason.
Can you get him?
The cameraman's fire, you know that, right?
No, he's really good at it.
I can tell the footage is horrible by the look of his eyes.
You should stop.
These cool bottles, but you're not over here.
All right, and we're back. We're back. We have the African Coalition brothers with us today.
Africa Town
Coalition brothers, and now we've discussed some of the problems, and then we've discussed also some of the possible solutions of these problems. So if there's any people that want to be involved in doing something positive for their community, how could they reach you guys, and where can they find you? I know they can't find your ass on Western and Vernon. That's a wrap.
Not right now.
Where can they find y'all if they want to get in touch with you?
Well, every Sunday we set up in Africa Town. Normally we do a free food giveaway.
Which is also known as Lamert Park for other people.
Right.
In Los Angeles.
They have their own form of currency, too.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, we have a coupon, yeah.
Right.
Oh, for real? You got Michael Jackson on the coupon?
No, we got a beautiful sister.
Image of a sister with that breast out.
Lauryn
And
Hill,
by
you
the
got
way,
Lauryn
it's
Hill
the
on
right titty. My favorite titty. Got that titty out. But I remember last time you
Who
was
is the
here,
sister?
man.
Is it Lauryn Hill?
No, you said something very dynamic because it's an image of a sister. She got her breasts out, and there's a harvest of food around her. But the man kicked so much science. He said that the breast milk of a woman is what gave birth, or pretty much gave nourishment to every race and everything on the planet. So that's the first source of food. Which I'm gonna try that shit out later on tonight, because I love titty milk.
Well, have you ever tried it? Have you ever tried it in cognac?
No, but I remember we was talking about this.
That's like an organic White Russian.
Like, for instance, you got a lot of people lactose intolerant, right? But I think it's very foolish for you to be a grown motherfucker drinking milk, period, because after any animal is weaned and of age, they don't mess with milk. But, we humans, we do things, but why fuck with a cow when we can fuck with a woman?
Right.
I think that breast milk from women is more compatible to me, so I'm trying to start this ice cream.
Would you make ice cream out of breast milk?
Yeah, I'm trying to start an ice cream party.
What would be the flavors?
Well, I'm gonna tell you this, like how you got 31 flavors, right?
Farouk, that first motherfucker, when you bring it out, that first sample, it got to be a whim ditty of a flavor. What would be your first flavor?
Just have her smoke a joint first. That'll get.
It's gonna be called nitty gritty titty flavor.
Nitty gritty titty flavor.
Okay, now check this out. Like you got Baskin and Robinson 31 flavors, right? My ice cream parlor gonna be called 48 Triple D's.
How many flavors?
48 Triple D's.
Damn. When you opening?
I got to get enough women with 48 Triple D's to contribute to this motherfucking milk.
Because I'm going to need a banana split. No, but seriously, though, when you look at that, I like that when you guys giving them have the food giveaways and everything like that. Because when you feed them with the food, you also feed them knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's very important.
And people stop and listen to what the fuck you got to say. If your fried chicken good, then the motherfucker. But if you ain't feed them, you come in with a panther like a Jehovah Witness and all of that.
I ain't trying to hear that shit.
Man, get the fuck away from me. But shit, chicken.
Wait,
y'all got some hot sauce too.
Let's see what he got to
what
say.
The fuck he got to say? And see, we always want to confront a motherfucker with some bullshit when people trying to tell us something. But a motherfucker don't want to say too much when they got food in their mouth.
So they really trying to listen.
Yeah.
And just to go back to the question that you were saying, it's like one of the things that we've noticed, not just in Africa Town, but throughout the city, is that once we started doing our outreach and our advocacy work, like feeding the people, we would go to different intersections like Martin Luther King and Western, Vernon.
Everywhere the 40 bus go, right? Everywhere the 40 bus go.
Pretty much. And so, down Crenshaw, in front of the mural. So we got a few different places that we would operate. And then we noticed that other people started doing the same thing. We've started cleaning up various areas in the community and throughout the city, and other people are starting to clean up as well. So it's a beautiful thing because, when you see other people seeing, it's like people want to do something.
Now,
but they just need some motivation.
And then again, they don't know how or what to do.
Right. Okay. So sometimes they'll just come throw in with us and see how we're doing it. Next thing you know, they got a table set up.
Now, before you guys...
I'm going to remind y'all of a great servant of our community. I don't know her name, but you brothers, you being around, you probably know her. I notice every time I get off the train on Crenshaw and Exposition, right? Every other day there's an older sister. I believe she's a Muslim, but that corner right there where the bus stop is, she cleans up all the time. You know, and I see her. I don't know if she owns the whole goddamn strip mall right there where that Domino's is at. But I see the sister sweeping up and cleaning up all the time. And I was like, damn, is she getting paid for this? But why should somebody pay you to clean your fucking community up? Right. But one thing that I did do, man, I stopped by and I bought some flowers and I handed that sister them flowers because I told you, sister, I really appreciate what it is that you're doing. And she's an elder.
So
you know
that was
what I'm saying?
That was a proactive gesture. Of
I really like that.
Now, the interesting thing I wanted to ask you, gentlemen, the community that you guys are in, and I've seen that you've made some changes by your presence. What differences have you noticed within that community before you guys started being proactive with the outreach and to the community, and now that you guys are a solid force and there consistently in the community?
We was going to the path of self-destruction fast. I mean, with this gentrification, with the drugs that's being pushed through here right now, we was just seeing what we saw in the 80s coming back, you know, as far as the murder and whatnot, the drug usage, but we are starting to see some type of resurrection. We're pushing to get more of our people hired, so there's a few more people, you know, making
so make sure you
some
clear,
sort of a living.
You make sure you clear, because some listeners out there, he say, hey, he's trying to get people hired. We want them hired. We want to give them a job. We ain't trying to get you.
Right. Hired.
Yeah, the drug epidemic is a trip. You know, as far as the crackheads, they healthy. Crackheads never get sick and they stay looking the same.
They be preserved like mummies.
This new crystal methane shit in the young people, that's a ugly and a very terrible, wicked thing right there. So
that's what I don't understand.
We need to rid ourselves of that in these young people, man. I don't want nobody to think crystal meth is the way to go, man.
Don't they be young? They be like,
man, they be teenagers and they look like fucking zombies or older than me. And it just sucks the life out of you.
I don't understand it. In that drug, the crystal meth, something when you hit that motherfucker and say, hey, let's go live in a tent. All these motherfuckers be in tents. You ever been inside one of them tents?
Yeah,
I went inside the tent. Look, I went inside one of them tents because I was like, let me help him. No, I was going to help him with something, you know what I'm saying? I went inside the tent. I was like, this shit look better than mine. I looked at the tent. This motherfucker had a love seat in that bitch, a flat screen TV in that motherfucker.
Yeah, we saw one with a flat screen for sure.
Inside the tent had a jacuzzi. Well, it was a kiddie pool with water in it. And I said, what? You got a pool in this motherfucker? He said, that's the jacuzzi. I said, where the bubbles? He jumped in that motherfucker and farted. I was like, this is way too serious. But it's plush.
Plush. So let me just share this right real quick, you know, because if there's someone out there who would like to would like to get involved with the Africa Town Coalition, maybe you need some information on how to, you know, resolve a situation, you can contact us at, we have our YouTube is Africa Town Coalition. Our Facebook group.
Is that Africa with a K or a C?
It's with a C.
Okay, cool.
And then we have our Facebook. We have a Facebook group. That's the logo right there. So our Facebook group is Africa Town Group on Facebook. We are Africa Town on Instagram and Africa Town LA on Twitter.
Now, do you have anybody twerking on your Instagram page?
Not yet, but if you have any suggestions, let me know. Anyway, so
I do have a suggestion. You just get you a good twerker and just put her in the green, the black, and the red.
No, you get us a good twerker.
Well,
and we'll see what happens from there.
I don't know.
They don't want no good tweakers. They don't want any tweakers. Twerkers.
I heard that the strip club is being gentrified right now. So
well, it ain't been gentrified, you know.
Everything's going.
But and also, the last but not least, I just want to say we are Africa Town Coalition at gmail.com. So Africa Town Coalition at gmail.com. You can drop us an email at any time, and we'll respond to it.
And right now, we getting folks jobs in all these stores.
Now back to that when you said about the jobs and stuff. So say, for instance, somebody wanted to come down, they wanted to get a job. So what are the requirements? Because, you know, a lot of people be out there, well, I got a felony, and, you know what I'm saying, I can't pass a drug test. How would that affect them getting a job through you guys?
Well, actually, right now, construction is looking for that. They have programs in place right now because they finally acknowledge this whole war on drugs.
So if you're taking drugs and you got a felony, you can go get hired?
Well,
I don't want that motherfucker building my house.
This war on drugs.
You can put my tent up, motherfucker, but I don't want you.
Some of the best people that's laying
I
up
wouldn't give a fuck.
is
dude.
laying out there, be smoking bud. That's all they do. Really.
But don't just let me know that shit. Put the 10 up, nigga.
Anyway.
Okay, but no, what else are the requirements, though?
But basically, yeah, just come let us know you're doing it. You know,
What about
we'll spend
housing?
a little time to get familiar with brother, because what we don't want is cats to get that first check and then be out.
Right.
Which most motherfuckers do, like, ooh,
So
shit.
you have to be someone who is willing to work, stay committed, and understand that what you're doing is that you're representing the broader community of black people.
What about housing? You guys help with housing as well?
We got some plugs with that. You know, we got working with other groups like the We Can Foundation. We got 30 people right here in Africatown Place finally, you know, after lobbying for them for a long time. But we do have certain connects that are starting to plug that.
I did run into, that you mentioned that, I did run into a guy who, he was hanging over there by where you guys give out the food and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the people came through with the placement and got him a brand new crib. They had just built it. Maybe some of the smokers you talking about built it, but nevertheless, it was brand new. And I asked him like, "It's brand new. How much is your rent?" He was like $35. I was like $3,500. He's like
$35.
I said $35 you paying? He was like, hell yeah, $35. And he was happy. He was crying when he said $35. He was crying. Now, if you're paying $35 a month for any place in Los Angeles, you bought it. So that can definitely change your self-esteem and your mode of operations as far as how you move around the city.
Well, let me just say that, you know, one of the reasons why they actually did that is because we had a lot of pressure on them, you know what I'm saying? Because they were trying to use homeless as, you know, fodder for the cannon, you know? And one of the things that I don't like about the homeless title anyway is that it's marginalized. It's like putting people into a category, and then somewhere down the line, that category becomes a permanent thing in our society. So you'll have a class of people over here that they can just put in mini homes or tiny homes or in box homes or whatever, and just do what you want to do. And so we have to always fight against that. But one of the things that
So what would
forced
be the
them to
more
do that.
politically correct term for a homeless person that wouldn't categorize them, by your opinion?
I would say a better term would be, you know, someone who is recovering from, you know, this assault on, you know, from the society, from the system.
Or the
Because
transit
that's really what it
community.
is.
Lot
It's a
lizards?
socioeconomic assault on our people that is driving.
It's
us
a
into
lot of
homelessness.
homeless people that go to work every day.
We want to find
They have jobs.
a more
They dress
productive-
decent. They just are homeless.
But Farouk, we want to find a more proactive term for these people, because I know a lot of people, they say
They're
disenfranchised.
transit. You know, you got to think about it. Homelessness never should have to be a permanent condition, but it should be a transition.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know, so you can go from homeless to a fucking millionaire the next day if you get the right lottery ticket. Or anyhow, some of these people go to school. Some of these people have jobs.
Right.
Some of these people have families. They just fell upon hard times, and they're going through a transitional period in their life. It's not just like they graduated from high school and say, hey, fuck it. Just buy me a tent, and when y'all want to come see me, come on 51st in between Fig and Broadway, and I'm going to be right under the freeway. No one thinks like that.
Yeah, so it's different levels. And if you got transit, then you got disenfranchised.
Now, if you was homeless, where would you want to live at?
Where would I want to live at?
Yeah.
In a tent.
But where?
In a little tent.
Well, I was on the
Where
beach.
would you? What? Thank you. Where
Down
would
by
you
the
stay?
river or the ocean. I'm going to the beach.
And I was working. So I was working.
I'm gonna
and
go
I
down
was
to the beach.
staying on the beach.
Now,
homeless.
Venice Beach, Malibu, what?
I'm gonna go to Huntington or Laguna.
Come on, cause you got some real uppity ass people that's homeless.
Yeah.
Oh,
They won't even accept $1 from you.
Right. They want more than $1.
Some of them, but you got a lot of them.
I had a disenfranchised gentleman one time ask me for $100 one time. I said, I wish I had 100. And he said, what about 50? I said, damn, you gave me a break? Woo.
Hey, did he hit you with the loose change? I don't understand.
He didn't
that.
want
Y'all
no
got
loose
some
change.
spare change.
He didn't want no loose change. He want no change.
It's some motherfuckers out there that's smart. I was talking to this cat, man, in front of the store just Sunday, man. You know, we was having a real good, heartfelt, spiritual conversation. And to conclude our conversation, he said, would you so happen to have 4 quarters? He didn't ask for $1. See, this motherfucker was smart. He kept it in a cent thing.
Category,
like
but it's still
4 quarters.
Change.
What did you do?
I told him, no, I ain't got nothing for it. But what I'm saying is, it was real cool because he put it in a cent term. He didn't say, do you have $1? He said, would you happen to have 4 quarters?
You enjoyed the creativity of it.
He getting better at it.
Mental effort he put into that.
Yeah, I was kind of creative. Right?
You know, the slickness he had added, the undermining, he might have been disenfranchised. Not a transit, not a bum, but disenfranchised.
Nah, this motherfucker had on Jordans with an iPhone. He wasn't homeless, man. He just some nigga at the liquor store trying to drink off of me for free.
That's right. But anyway, the African Town Coalition brothers, we have enjoyed you guys coming down, and I hope
appreciate you as always.
I hope the listeners learn something from this show. You know, number one, don't play the blame game. You dig what I'm saying? Number two, know what you feel.
Yeah, if it's our community, brothers, let's hold ourselves accountable, man, and let's be responsible of straightening up this shit, man. And quit blaming it on our women and badass kids, because most of the time they outweigh based upon our neglect or some fucked up shit that we don't want to hold ourselves accountable for.
And also understand that, karma is a bitch and payback is a bitch. And
the stylistic said payback is a dog.
And them two bitches will come get you. You know what I'm saying? So this is what we're saying. Always do something for your community. Each one teach one. Instead of just talking about it, be about it.
That's right.
And we thank you guys for coming on the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge.
We appreciate it.
We will see y'all next time on the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge.
Appreciate you, brother.
Peace. Watch out for the police.
Of course.
That part.
This is the Mad Marv Comedy Lounge. Trap comedy at its finest. Where if you can't slang yourself, you might as well hang yourself. This is also where you can turn yourself into dope and you become the real man. Whoa, yeah.